this video, we're going to cover Acts 4:12 in a breakdown that will describe exactly what it is discussing. So here it is. Acts 4:12. Keukistin en allo udeni, he soteria udegad onoma estin, heteron hupo ton uranon, to de dominon, en anthropois en ho de sothenai hemas. So the context for this is that it comes from a moment where Peter is standing before the religious leaders of Jerusalem defending Jesus' teachings, known by his followers as the way, and proclaiming that salvation can only be found in Jesus Christ. This proclamation was part of the early church's mission to spread the gospel and establish that Jesus, whom they had crucified, was the Messiah and the only path to salvation. This is what the verse is over here. Salvation exists in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to men by which we must be saved. Here it is again. Let's go ahead and let's break it down. So the first word over here that we're going to be looking at is soteria. The root comes from the word sozo, meaning I save, or I rescue, or I deliver. And it can be translated either as salvation, deliverance, preservation, or even safety. And so it carries the general sense of being saved from danger or harm, whether it's physical, spiritual, or both. So in the context of Acts 4:12, soteria refers specifically to the spiritual rescue or deliverance that Jesus provides. The word has a broad range of meanings, but in theology, it is often implies salvation in the ultimate sense, being saved from sin and its consequences, particularly eternal separation from God. Now, the word salvation tends to carry a hyper-religious meaning, where it commonly refers to something being saved from sin and death forever. So this can make it seem a little bit distant or hard to connect with in day-to-day life. On the other hand, deliverance, banjo, that suggests a more immediate and relatable rescue from danger, whether it's physical or it's spiritual. So it emphasizes the action of being set free, making it more dynamic and powerful. So salvation can sometimes feel like it's a fixed and perfect outcome rather than an ongoing process of being saved, compared to deliverance, where one can find themselves in an issue or quandary, and then they find themselves being saved from that quandary. So salvation tends to have a sense of once it's completed, there's no need for further interruption, for further hands-on interaction, but rather what's happening here with deliverance is that it portrays that in situations we must call upon the name to be saved. Now here's another interesting distinction over here. Hupo ton uranon. So with hupo, we have the preposition that means under or beneath, and then you have ton uranon, meaning the heaven or the sky. And so by using hupo ton uranon, the text is saying that out of all the people and all created things under heaven, namely on earth, only Jesus has the authority to bring deliverance. This includes everyone who has ever lived, lives now, or will live in the future. So this tells us that Jesus is the only one out of all people and all of creation who has been given the power by God to save us. No one else, at least no other human being, has this ability, only Jesus as the risen Christ. Now, the next word we're going to look at over here is the dominon, which is a participle from the root didomi, meaning I give. And so this participle, it means having been given or simply given. And so the perfect tense over here that we have with this article indicates that it is a completed action with ongoing effects. So it highlights that the name, referring to Jesus in this case, has been given in the past, and its significance continues to the present. Now, the passive voice shows that this name was given by God and not by human agency. This thing did not name itself, but rather God gave it a name. And so this word over here, day, is from the root deo, meaning to bind, or it means to, in this case, it means it is necessary or it must, in the way that it is put into the text. And so the verb day, it expresses necessity or obligation and is bound to a certain outcome. This indicates that deliverance must be obtained through the name of Jesus. And so the present tense suggests that this necessity is a constant and ongoing requirement. This is basically a conditional statement. If you want to be saved, then the only way to do that is through the name of Jesus. And so here's an example from Luke 9:22, where Jesus talks about himself and he says, the Son of Man must suffer many things, he said. He must be rejected by the elders, chief priests, and scribes, and he must be killed and on the third day be raised to life. So here in Luke 9:22, we can see the word day when Jesus is explaining the steps required to fulfill the prophecy of the Messiah. This is a topic for a later breakdown. Let's go back to Acts. So here we have the word sothene, from the root sozo, aorist passive infinitive of sozo, meaning to be saved. And so the aorist tense often points to a specific event or action in the past, but when it's used in an infinitive form, it can also indicate the completeness or totality of the action without direct focus on the timing. The passive voice shows that the action of being saved is something done to us rather than something we do ourselves. So in this context, it emphasizes that salvation is something received, it's not earned. Let's go ahead and simplify this even further. So imagine you're a baker baking a cake. So the aorist tense is when you say that I, as a baker, baked the cake. It points to that specific moment when the cake was baked in the past. But when the aorist tense is used in the infinitive form, it's like saying to have baked the cake. Now, what this means is that it doesn't just focus on the moment of baking, but it tells you that the cake is completely finished and ready to eat. The important part is that the cake is done, not exactly when it was baked. So using the aorist infinitive is like saying the cake is fully baked and ready no matter when it happened. It's about the cake being complete and ready to enjoy. And so the same is true with deliverance through Jesus Christ. So here is our original translation. Salvation exists in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to men by which we must be saved. Here is my translation. There is no deliverance in anyone else, since there is no other name under heaven that has been given to humankind by which it is necessary to be saved. Thank you for watching this breakdown. If you like this, please go ahead and like it down below. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And comment down below the word breakdown if you've gotten this far. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.